This pre-application informational video explains the Colorado Circular Community's Impact Grant funding opportunity. In this video, we will review what you need to know before you apply, as well as application and eligibility requirements and what to expect post-award. Before you apply. First, it is important to understand the definitions of a few keywords utilized in C3's funding process. Criteria is approved by the C3 Board of Directors, including requirements mandated by House Bill 24-1449. Eligibility for potential funding is based on the C3 Board of Directors approved criteria. Application review is the C3 review process of an application based on the C3 Board approved criteria. We recommend that you read the C3 strategic plan. All projects will be prioritized according to their alignment with the C3 strategic plan. Applicants must be able to explain precisely how a project meets the strategic plan's goals and strategies. You may view this plan by scanning the QR code or visiting the C3 website. Impact grant awards are between $50,000 and $500,000 for projects which can be completed within 18 months. These grants are not designed to meet urgent or emergency needs. Applications are open for the full 2026 calendar year with 3 set review windows: January through March, April through June, and July through September. Review windows for 2027 will be announced as they're available. Each application will be reviewed and scored on its own. Impact grants are funding opportunities designed for projects that improve the entity's ability to enhance circularity, such as facility upgrades or large equipment purchases. Please note that all applicants are limited to 1 grant award per calendar year. You may apply multiple times for C3 funding, but you may only be awarded funding once per calendar year. Please read the grant guidelines, which include important information about eligibility, application requirements, questions, evaluation details, and timeline. Scan the QR code or visit our website to view the grant guidelines. Meeting with staff is not required to submit an impact grant application. If you have questions that are not answered in the grant guidelines or on the C3 website, you may contact C3 staff by scanning the QR code or visiting our website. Speaking with staff will not impact your application review. If you need technical assistance, contact c3.grantmanagement@state.co.us. Impact grant requirements. Eligible entities for the Impact Grant include municipalities, tribes, counties, and cities and counties, which includes unincorporated areas, nonprofits, for-profits, institutions of higher education, and public and private schools. Other requirements include being registered and in good standing with the Colorado Secretary of State, being in operation for a minimum of 1 year, being in good standing with all applicable laws, permits, and regulations, and you must have not received C3 funding within the past calendar year. Impact grant awards range between $50,000 and $500,000. Eligible projects must contribute to the advancement of a circular economy in Colorado and be related to a specific goal of the C3 strategic plan. Eligible expenses include, but are not limited to, staffing, supplies and equipment, contractual expenses, project planning, policy research and development, community engagement, outreach, and education, and a maximum of 10% of the project cost for contingency. Ineligible projects include projects that do not promote a circular economy in Colorado, are located outside of Colorado, and waste-to-energy projects, excluding biochar production and anaerobic digestion. Ineligible expenses include leases, lease-to-own, rent, real property or land, travel, subscriptions, memberships, scholarships, fundraising, equipment or supplies funded by a loan where the awardee does not hold the title or rights to the item, lobbying or government advocacy efforts, fundraising events and activities, research, studies, indirect costs, subscriptions, memberships, scholarships, research and development, such as pilot projects or proof of concept, and indirect costs. Applicants should instead specify the exact itemized costs required to complete the project. Public sector entities needing support with marketing, communications, project planning, policy research and development, community engagement, and education and outreach are also ineligible. Support for these services may instead be supported by the Strategic Technical Expertise for the Public Sector, or STEPS C3 program. Any funds spent before full execution of an agreement with C3 are not eligible. For more details on eligible and ineligible grant expenses, please carefully review the grant guidelines before applying. The Impact Grant application is available on the C3 website. You are required to create an account or sign into your existing account. You will need to type your organization name and select your organization from the populated list. Then complete the location boxes. If your organization is not listed, click Add Organization. If you add organization, you will need to input your organization's tax identification number, as well as the name and address. Once complete, click Submit and Continue. Completion of the form includes eligibility questions. If you take the eligibility survey and do not pass, please do not proceed with the application. If you have questions about your eligibility, refer to the grant guidelines. If there is a red asterisk next to a field on the form, it is a required field. Please be sure to read all information in a field before filling out your response. Click Next at the bottom of the screen to move to the next page. There are no character limits for most fields, so please keep your responses concise and limited to relevant information. Once you're ready to submit your application, click Sign and Submit at the bottom of the form. Clicking any link within the application will redirect your current web page, not open a new tab. To avoid leaving the application, right-click on links and choose Open in New Tab. The application platform automatically saves your progress. Signing into the portal will allow you to reopen the saved application. All fields in the application must be completed before submission. You will be required to sign an attestation that all information is true and accurate. You're authorized to submit the application on behalf of the organization, and that you agree to C3's contract terms and conditions. The application components include application information, project information, project budget, timeline, permits, project impact, staff and experience, uploads, and a survey. The required documents for the Impact Grant opportunity include a work plan, vendor quotes, resumes for your key project staff, a financial statement for the previous fiscal year, such as a profit and loss or a statement of activity, and subcontractor commitments if those are applicable. These can be submitted as file attachments. The application review is completed by C3 staff based on the C3 board's approved criteria. An evaluation process and scoring rubric is used to analyze applications, which allows staff to evaluate projects for board recommendation. The scoring rubric is included within the guidelines. If an application is selected for recommendation to the C3 Board of Directors, the applicant will be notified approximately 2 weeks prior to the board meeting when the project will be presented. All recommended applicants must attend the virtual board meeting. Applicants who will not be recommended to the board will be notified via email within 1 month after the board recommendation meeting with review feedback. Review, scoring, and deliberation on applications submitted during an application window will occur after each application window closes. There are 3 application windows in 2026: January through March, April through June, and July through September. Each application will be reviewed and scored on its own. These cycles will allow a more structured timeline and expectations. Selected projects will be presented to the board roughly 2 months after the window closes. Post-award. If you're awarded funding, you will receive a notification of your result via the email address you provided on the application. Applicants whose projects are selected for funding will work with the C3 team to develop a statement of work, including activities, deliverables, and reporting requirements to execute an agreement. Applicants will be required to enter into an agreement. Terms and conditions can be found within the grant guidelines. Submission of an application confirms acceptance to the terms and conditions. No alterations will be made. Awardees will be required to accept their award and submit several items, as applicable, to complete the contracting process within 5 calendar days of receiving the award letter. This includes a W-9, electronic funds transfer form and relevant attachments such as bank letter or copy of a check, a certificate of insurance with proof of minimum requirements such as liability, auto, and workers' compensation, CDPHE as the certificate holder and waiver of subrogation in favor of the state. The certificate of insurance is not required for public entities, such as schools, cities, or counties. Once your project has been executed, changes to activities, deliverables, and requirements of the project set forth in the agreement will not be changed. Requests for these changes may result in termination of your contract and a request to submit a new application. If your application is declined, you will receive notification via the email address provided on the application. C3 reserves the right to request additional information if needed. Evaluation comments will be shared with applicants. Applicants should review the evaluation feedback, make any relevant adjustments, and consider if the project is eligible before reapplying. An entity may submit multiple applications, but are limited to 1 grant award per calendar year. Thank you for watching the pre-application video for the C3 Impact Grants. We look forward to receiving your application.